Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us in our webinar today. I'm Fabio Rosa. I'm the CEO and co-founder of TagoIO. I'm here today to talk about applications using TagoIO for industrial IoT. I will be recording this session, so if you want to watch later or share with others, you're going to receive a link so that you can use it. Also, we are going to have Q&A at the end, so feel free to make any questions during the presentation. Today I'll be here by myself. We had a plan to have somebody else, but we had to change last minute. But let's start then. Okay, so the agenda for today is first talk a little bit about the concepts of TagoIO. There are some new things that we introduced. I think it'd be great to share with you. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of devices, IoT, sensors, actuators, used for industrial applications in the overall ecosystem as well. And then we wanted to share more about the platform itself by demonstrating TagoIO admin and also the Tagoram and show some use cases. And at the end, they're going to have the Q&A. I expect to spend roughly half an hour, no more than that. Then you have some minutes for questions. So very high level, TagoIO is an end-to-end cloud platform that is transforming the way businesses are able to create value from connected products. So we are in the software business, but it doesn't mean that we go by ourselves only. We have a lot of partners. Right now, we are with more than 75 partners. Some of them, and frankly, most of them are in the hardware space. So we don't provide the hardware, but we have several partners that provide the hardware. Today, we have more than 400 certified devices that are ready to go to connect basically to any kind of network, LoRa, Sigfox, cellular, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, you name it. And if the device is not there, we create a lot of options so that anyone can build their own connector. Today, we are with more than 9,000 accounts, and we are in more than 100 countries around the globe. So it's a lot of work, and we will not be able to do that without our partners. So we work directly with some of our companies that we are mentioned here on the bottom. We are highly involved with them. So make sure that our platform is secure, that is easy to use, and it really helping people to build the IoT solution. Just to put everybody on the same page here, when I talk about IoT, we know that's a very broad term. So let's talk about where is Tago in this ecosystem. We know that what people want to do with a platform like ours is basically connect the sensors, bring information, bring the data to the business. And not only stay there, but also to integrate with another systems. Okay, so from the left to the right, we call end devices that are basically the sensors. I'm going to show you some of the sensors here that we have. Then this information can go to a gateway. If you talk about LoRa or Sigfox, we need a network in the middle. So basically, TagoIO is integrated with the network. Okay, so you don't need to worry about all this integration. That's all done by Tago. So the information coming from the sensor, go to your account at TagoIO. You can process. If you needed to send it back, let's say you need to open a valve, a relay, you send a command down, what we normally call downlink. You are able to do this as well in real time. The application is where we offer TagoIO for developers to build the dashboard, the analytics, and so on, so that it can be also integrated with other third-party systems like Excel, Google Sheets, CRM, SAP system, ERP, or whatever is a web service. You can do that. Also, you can be integrate with your enterprise. Maybe you have something inside of your company that's proprietary. So as long as you have the APIs, some kind of communication, and the keys for that, you can integrate. Also, it's important to say that Tago, when we talk about TagoIO, we talk about our admin, that's basically where you build applications, where developers put the application together. And then when you deploy that information, that application to the user, we call a model called Tagoyo. Okay, I'm going to show this in 1 minute. So we have a key components on Tago: device management, data storage, reminding that data can be stored on Tago in real time. You can downstream, let's say every day, you can retain the data at the Tago for 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, you decide, but you don't need to only make a decision like, hey, I want data with me, I cannot use the Tago. No, you can use, okay? You can export the data very easily. You can upload the data as well. You can run analysis with a Tago. That's very important, because that's where normally we see value from our customer experience, right? When they create reports and they add machine learning, AI, or smart alerts, things like that, they are going to be using our script capability. And of course, you have the dashboards, and dashboards are to present this on the browser or mobile app. That's mainly the part of the IoT, but also we add a lot of other capabilities, and I'm going to show you today here in the demo. But very important is that you can have user management, and it's not only for one person. You can create entities, you can create organizations, sites. For example, if you have 2, 3 customers, you can create a management system to manage them inside of a Tago. And we have the white label version as well. So we offer, with our starting model, subdomain under TagoIO, so that you can share this with your end users. But if you want completely white label, if you're with your own domain, that's also a possibility. So basically, there are 2 steps to work with a Tago. First, you build your application by going to the admin.tago.io. You create a free account, you can manage your device, store data, create analysis, alerts, notifications, integrate with your system. So that's where basically you're going to be working. And then you get this application and wanted to share with other employees, colleagues, customers, and all the end users. You are going to be deploying your solution under your own domain. Okay, you can use the Tago domain, or you have your own customer domain. For example, in this case, talk about something like www.portal.mycompany.com. So customer will be going there, sign up, that when they do that, you are going to see that they sign up. You're going to receive a notification. You can grant access. You decide what they're going to see. So they are not our customer. They will be your customer. So we really recommend people to create their own domain with Tago. They're going to receive a customer email. So the email will be leaving from your domain, not ours. So that's good, because that's create engagement between your brand and your users. You can change the color, the company logo, the background image, like this one I show you here, favicon. You can create a help desk inside, chat, and the other things. I'm going to show you 1 minute this live. Other thing that you can do with Tago is you can create reports. Things like this one, report in PDF. This is a real picture. You don't need to be stuck with our widgets. You can create whatever you want. We have example in our community is a script that you can edit if you want. If you want to use as is, you can do it. If you want to change the color and generate the tables, add pictures and so on, you can do that. Okay. Normally it takes a couple of hours to do this. And then of course, you can automate this report. For example, you can send a report to your customer every Monday, 7 a.m. or once a month, or every time they press a button. Other thing that we have is very nice, is related to the widget called form. These are customizable forms where you can collect input from the users. For example, you can ask them to enter their name, company name, address, phone number, pictures, upload file, read QR code. So there are a lot of things that you can do that. And that's very interesting because that really goes beyond the IoT, so that you can get this solution and allow them create organization or maybe get information related to the invoice, truck, boat, company, whatever you want. Other thing that's very important is the feature that generates a lot of value that we call the analysis. We call analysis, where it can execute scripts in real time to make a decision. They're very powerful, and basically they can do anything. They can generate the reports for you. They can get or send data through APIs. As I mentioned before, for example, if you have an SAP system or something with the Windows or a proprietary ERP system, you can communicate, so you don't need to ask users or train users to go to Tago and input everything manually. You can go there and grab the data. You can also even automate the creation of users and dashboards. For example, you can create a dashboard for you so that you enter a new user, press the button, and this user will receive an email with a welcome, with a password for them to access your portal, so that later they need to change the password by themselves and keep secure. Okay, so generate reports, synchronize with external database is possible if you have any type of a database externally, and you need to bring the data or send the data, let's say synchronize every day, you can do that as well. Other thing that you can do is use or integrate this system, your system, with a payment gateways. So I have customers that use the Tago to create spreadsheets that with the amount of users that they have, or the plans that they have, or the number of devices they have, so they can charge them. It can be done later manually, or you can integrate with Stripe, PayPal, or any other system. There's also a possibility to do. Other thing that you can basically program in any language. If you want to go further and generate even more value for your application, you can use any type of a language. If you're going to be running on TagoIO, today you offer only JavaScript and Python. But if you're running your server on the other place, you can basically do in any language. A little bit about other features. One that we have been working a lot and we released at the beginning of this year is the multi-language. So now you can create, basically you can use our dictionary to create variation for your user so that they select the language. If you go to the dashboard and you look for the option that you have today, I guarantee you basically can change every field that you see there. Any text, for example, if there is a button like zoom here or click here for help, you can use that one and translate to any language. Or if you want to keep in English, but you just want to change the term because you didn't like much, also you can do this. We don't translate that, but we give you option for you to download a spreadsheet so that you can send this spreadsheet to your translator or use Google or something like that, review, and you upload with the language. So it's very common, our customer getting 2 or 3 languages nowadays. Okay. Other thing that we have is the single sign-on. The SSO is an option that you have. I think we are offering this in the scale version so that the IT department of your customer, let's say, or your own company can have full control of who is going to sign in, who is going to be create account and things like that. For example, by doing that, you don't need to ask your end users to create account with you. They're going to create in their corporation so that if this person, for example, leaves the company, the IT department can go there immediately and remove the credential. So that's very important. We have seen a lot of enterprises looking and going this direction. Other thing that you have is the Tag Run. With the Tag Run, I'll show you here just the mobile app. Whatever you build on Tago, you can see also in the mobile app. I'm going to show, by the way, this application for you in a few minutes. It's free. If you use the Tagoyo, it's free. If you want to have your own version, completely white label, there is a cost. Take a little bit of time, a couple of weeks, but that's possible is an option that we have as well. Frankly, there is not much difference between the free and other than the fact that when you deploy, you'll be deploying your behalf with your brand so that people can look for your company, for your product directly from App Store or Google Play, and they're gonna find you. Okay, let's then talk a little bit about the industrial sector. So, of course, IoT is very broad. You can use in a lot of segments. Today is more about the IoT. There are different kinds of applications. One is for sure is in distribution, right? When I talk about managing, monitoring pipelines or material handling. Other part is the conversion and converting in discrete process. We have been seeing a lot of applications recently on this. For example, we have customers in Latin America that they use the Tago where they basically, it's not the distance exactly, but they use one sensor where they add a accelerometer on it. And every time that the machine move or execute one operation, it has a accelerometer inside and it counts how many times it's processed. It's so simple, but because of the new technology like LoRa and Sigfox, today is much easier to acquire this data. In the past, it would be very complex, very expensive. So count, helping the process is very important. Also, you can use similar to improve, to measure flow, for example. Resource automation, I think is very important. I have seen some customer working in mining, in woodland. And the other thing is not only about machine, it's also about workers. So it's not a small number of applications that you have seen where managers, or let's say the enterprise, wanted to track people inside of their environment for security reasons, and also for predictive issues, right? So they want to know who is there, if this person is supposed to be in this location, and not only the person, but also, let's say, the pallet, or should we allow one person to be in one area, or should we have two persons in a certain area because of security or safety issue? So we have seen a lot of applications on this area. I'm going to show you some sensors for that. So basically, of course, there are different ways you can put this together in the IoT. I'm not here to talk about all the details about IoT. That's very broad, but one way, of course, that you see this is from the end devices that's connect normally somehow to a gateway or concentrator, and that can be just a gateway. So this gateway is just going to collect this information and send this to, for example, to Tago, to our portal, so we can process, generate reports, and so on. In other cases, we may have some edge computer in the middle, right? This computer is going to do at least some kind of a processing, so that if there is any disconnection, any problem, or just because of maybe cost reason, it's not necessary to have this data on the cloud to make a decision. It can have some control, as is shown here in the picture, locally, and then send it to the cloud only certain information. Okay, there are, again, several reasons for that. It can be for security or trade secret, or also for cost. And there are others, of course. So normally when I talk about the IoT, you have seen that there are a lot of things that are done locally at very high speed, and then just a little bit is sent out. For example, if you get to the PLC that is in the market today, most of them are isolate, right? So they are good to monitor the process locally, but if the company, the manager, supervisor want to receive a notification in their mobile phone if something happened, that's very hard to accomplish. But if you work with the right hardware, with a platform like TagoIO, that's much more easy to be done. I'll list here some of the devices. As I mentioned before, we have more than 400. Not all of them are for industrial environment, but here we have some. When you talk about connectivity, there are different ways, right? Sometimes you talk about wireless, like those I put here, like we have seen with Sigfox, LoRa. Wi-Fi is a little bit tricky, but because of a distance and noise and so on, but of course it's also possible. Or even the cable, right? Directly connected through, let's say, Modbus or Profibus, then there is a converter that are gonna get the signal and send it to the other network like ours, right? So we have hardware devices like the liquid level, industrial transceiver, like this one from Tactility. We have seen a lot of people going with this, or the remote IO there that the Modbus 485, that you'll be able to get the information from the local network, let's say the Modbus, and convert this to, let's say, our protocol. Okay, there are others like industrial outdoor GPS, POC, like this one from Siemens. We have this in the work that we have done some years ago, and there is even a paper explain white case that explain how that works. So there are a lot of things related to Modbus. I think that's very is expected. Also energy meters. And then the last one here that we just had, like the ID card tracker, where you can use this to track, of course, employee staff. So when I talk about the algorithm, what you can do with a combination, let's say IoT versus what we had in the past. So I like to separate this in two ways, right? One is first, you can have your processing capability locally inside of a microchip. For example, when we talk about sensorless motor control, right? We have something in the middle, like embedded solution, that are gonna read, in this case, from the electric motor, just 3 currents. Okay, you have 3 voltage, you read the three currents, and based on that, you have advanced algorithm, and this algorithm can use the model, can estimate the mechanical power, the torque, energy we spend, the speed, the position, temperature, just to mention some of them. So that's a way to process, but the acquisition time here is very fast. So that's important to have these normally locally. It's very hard, it's not possible, but it's hard and it will be very expensive if you try to have just acquisition of these currents at a very high frequency and send to the cloud and process. But when you go to other systems like vision system, you can have a mix of them. Again, depending on your application, but you may have a camera, then it goes to the cloud, and then on the cloud, you can have advanced processing capability. I know that there are some of them that can be on the edge locally, and there is a mix of them. But my point here is that it's important to have in mind that you always need to think about what you want to run locally and what you want to have on the cloud. Okay, there are advantage and disadvantage for both. One example here is the POC using MQTT. There's a protocol that TagoIO offers. So with the IoT 2040 from Siemens, it's possible to connect to the Modbus. And in this example that I have is in our website, it's possible to get the application using Node-RED. Node-RED is a graphical system that you can do. You don't do this on Tago, but in this example, they use Node-RED locally to process and send this from the Modbus to Tago. And of course, on Tago, you can generate reports, you can do push notification because you are in the cloud, so it implies that it's more easy and possible to send this to the internet, for example, and reach the user using their mobile phone. So you can create KPIs, visualization, historic data, not from everything that happened in the manufacturer line, because maybe you don't even want to do that, but the key things you can extract and send this to the top. We have a more user case in our website. Tago.io. We have a list of sensors there as well. Let me go and switch now to the presentation, from the presentation to our system here, okay? Let me show this one here. So if you go to TagoIO, you can see here, what you have is basically, when you sign up in your account, TagoIO, it will be, of course, empty here. Basically, you don't have an application till you start to create by yourself. So on Tago, you have first the home page where you can see the stats, how many devices you have, how much you are using, how many records you have. So it's just a snapshot with a very good indicators to start. Then you can go to something like devices. You can add a device from here, see the storage, the data that you're storing, and also the analytics and so on. Let me go to the dashboard, okay? So if you go here to the dashboard, you see that I already have one here for industrial automation, okay? I think this is a very nice one to start with, because if you know exactly what you want and you already have a template, that's nice. But if you need a template, you can use this as one to start. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to show you how to install this template, how to get this data. Okay, but you can see that you can have here, in this case, in a machine that is operating, producing the material, is being monitored with 3 spots of the temperature. And you have here 3 zones, and you have the temperature for each one. You have also the this extrusion, you have the speed in the process, the temperature of its 3 zones, and the pressure, and some stats here. Then if you need to edit things, basically what you need to do is go to the dashboard, and then you can edit things, or you can simply, add. So if you want to add anything, like I want to add a display, you can look for the device, industrial. I want to add, for example, the speed. Okay, you just do something like that. So I just add here the speed. Okay, it's the same thing as this one here. It just is in a display. Okay, so let me show you now how you get there. Okay, basically, if you want to start with the simulation, you just come here, add the device. By adding the device, you are able to get a database read, and then you can create actions, analytics, dashboards, and so on. Okay, then later I'm going to show how to deploy this. Okay, so if you go to the first one here on the left, we call networks, you have some examples. Okay, so forget that I have these already up and run here because I have done this before. But if you come for the first time, say, okay, I want this device simulator for industrial automation, give a name like machine 1, something like that. Okay, then you created the device. Okay, so the device installed, then you can see here, get the dashboard templates here. So if you like and you want to start, you can click here, and then you are gonna be asked if you want to install. Yes, I want to install. And now you need to associate this dashboard with the device. So that's nice, because later I'm going to show you that you can use the same one and associate with other sensor. Let's say you have this industrial sensor here or another sensor. So whatever you have it, you can associate that dashboard and continue from there. So let me associate with this new one, confirm association. So, okay, so you can see that I just added this dashboard. There is no data available. And the reason we don't have data is because it takes up to 3 minutes for our simulator to send the data. But if you send it at every 3 minutes. So at the end of the day, these will be, oops, the data just arrived, okay? So you have some data here. You don't have the chart on the bottom, but that's what you have. And if you want to wait and continue editing things from here, you just need to wait. So you not even need to have a real sensor in your hand to start with Tago. So that's pretty nice, okay? This one here is basically the same, just we change a little bit the background and so on, but you got the point, right? You can come here and say, okay, I want to create another chart. I want to remove this. I want to get this put in other place. So you can do a lot of things. Okay, one thing that you can do that is very interesting for the automation, of course, is for industrial automation is to have notification. I just create a very simple notification here, notify me. So by clicking there, I am inside of the action. This action is programmed to send a notification to a user. I put here a user like David, okay, that are gonna send this notification every time the pressure cross 5,000, okay? And then just send one time and reset when it's going down below 4,000. So you don't send a lot of notification, just send it one time, okay? So that's one way to send a notification. But you can do different things. You can do, you can trigger action here that are gonna send, for example, a command it out to the machine to disconnect the machine if you want to do that, or to cool the temperature or turn a fan on or send an alert. So there are a lot of things you can do just to do a very basic example here, okay? So now that you have this action, what you can do here is, okay, I want to deploy this to my customers. Okay, let's say that dashboard is ideal, you like it, you are tracking your machine for industrial application, and you have some collaborators inside. How you do that? Basically, you go to click here on run. I just did this before this webinar today. You enter with your subdomain. In this case, I'm calling industrial. So industrial.run.tago.io. That's the name of my, that we call run, my application. So all users will go there and create their account there, okay? So I can change here the navigation bar. You see how the colors can change here. So there are a lot of options, navigation bar, sign up page. In this case, you can see that we have a picture for the sign up page. So when the end user goes there, they see this page. Okay, that's nice. I can define multi-language. I can add some buttons here. You see that I just did that. I add a button here called support. Inside, I put a website from Microsoft, just one example, but it could be a support from my company, okay? So if you do that, and let me do a little bit better here. Let me just change the color. So that's beautiful here. All right. So let me save. So when I do that, it's deploying my run. Click here, nice. So if I click on this one here, I can go, let's start from the beginning. So that's the page, okay? So that's the page that my users will go when they want to visit my system, okay? It's just run here because I was logged before, okay? So if anyone come here in this moment from the webinar, you just go there right now, industrial.run.tago.io, and create account, you're gonna show up in our list of users. So I know the email, let's say from David Hall. I have the password there. Okay, just one example. I'm gonna sign up. Okay, okay, close. All right. So I can see that first. Remember that button that I create. So that button is allowing you to go to the support, or David, in this case, you can go to the support and can access. So that's very nice because you are provide a solution for your end user. You may want to present something, a video or a link to your company, open a ticket. So don't forget to have this button so you can do that. Okay, so take a look here in the dashboard. So the dashboard is here. So David has the access to the dashboard. Okay, I'm gonna show you 1 minute why he has access, but basically because I pre-configure the user access, and I told that David, in this case, could access my dashboard. Okay, if you have 100 dashboards, I can cluster and grant access based on some tags. Okay. In this case here, if he goes to the language, there are some languages here, English, Portuguese, Spanish, because the dictionary is there. So there are a lot of configuration. And you can see that notification is on. And the reason is on because 1 hour ago, this system was above 5,000. So he just received a notification about 1 hour ago. Okay, so I can read the notification and that's it. If I want to see all the notifications, they are here. So that's very simple, very easy to do, and grant access I'm going to show you in 1 second. So how we can control who is going to access is by going to the access. Okay. Oh, first the user. Okay. So you have run. I did the configuration. The user, David, he created an account 6 hours ago. Okay. If I go there right now in the sign up page and create this, if I go there, I will be able to get in the system, but nothing is going to show to me. Why? Because I have to have a policy. In this case, very simple policy. Normally, you can do something more, let's say, more intelligent. But in this case, I did something very simple. I did, let's get the user call. Here's the list of user. So far, I have just one, David, to have access to dashboard. Which dashboard? I have 2. Let's change, by the way. Let's give access to the dark dashboard. Okay. So that's what I did. So we are giving access to David. So that's pretty nice because now if I go there, the application as David, okay, yep, the authorization is here, yep. So that's the other dashboard that I mentioned to you that I just installed. So now David has access to this one. So that's one way to get people sign up your system and grant access to them only for the things that you want to show them. If you want to grant access based in cluster, for example, you are in an industrial manufacturing and you have supervisors, you have a maintenance team, you can identify them and put in groups. You do that by using tags. You have all the documentation for that. You create that groups and say, okay, all maintenance staff, you have access to these machines. Supervisor, you have a much more for this machine from all sides, things like that. So you can create that. So it's really very easy to do, and at the same time, it's very powerful. Okay, so I've basically covered everything that I want to talk about IoT. Let me know if you have any question. I don't see here any question, but if you have, let me know. I'll be glad to answer you. Can be, by the way, about this kind of applications, about the tool itself, or about another experience. While I am waiting here, I'm gonna just show something that I thought could be very interesting. So we just create a new page in our website called Dashboard Templates. Okay, so if you go there to the Dashboard Templates, using this URL, you'll be able to see some dashboards, templates that we have been working for a while, and we thought it would be nice to share with you. Okay, so go there, and if you have an account, just click here. And the process will be like I showed you before. It's going to ask you in your account, do you really want to install? And then I'm going to be installing this dashboard in your account. And then you ask to associate a device with. The only thing that's important is that you should have a sensor, okay? I don't know what kind of sensor you have there that sends the information that the dashboard is expecting. I'll show you 1 minute how you can see that inside, because maybe you have a sensor that doesn't send exactly the same name of the sensor. You can always edit the dashboard. But basically, this is a list of dashboards like this one I did before. Have blue dashboards, have white dashboards for machines, user registration, satellite views. So there are different types of dashboards, but it's pretty straightforward to do that. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by you need to make sure that the sensor is sending information that the dashboard is expecting. If it's not sent, you can edit. For example, let's say that you get here this dashboard, industrial automation. Okay, let me get this one here because that's the real one that you see when you install. Let's say that you have speed, but let's say that your sensor is not send the same thing as expect here. First, let's see what is expect. If you click here, edit, you see the variable. So the variable is here. So that's the name of the device, and that's the name of the variable. Let's say that your sensor is not send speed, but it's send machine speed. So you just come here and change this name. You see, the variable is not found because it's not here right now. But if you send speed machine, let's say that your sensor send, you're gonna show up here. So that's one way that you still can use your template, even if your sensor is not send exactly the same name. So from here, of course, you can edit everything. If you didn't like its color, you want to change, you can do this at any time. Okay. All right. So I hope that was good information for you. If you don't have any questions, we'll be closing by now. We will be sharing this video by the end of today with everyone. So you can see again or share with others, and let us know if you have any question. You can always work with in our community.tago.io, or can open a ticket to understand how things work or share your experience. So thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.